Welcome to Mocktails and Masterpieces with the Indianapolis Chamber Orchestra.
Greetings, ICO friends. Matthew Kraemer here with another Mocktails and Masterpieces. I am delighted to be joined by our guest artist for our March 21st program, the wonderful Gabriela Martinez. Great to see you, Gabriela.
Hello, Matthew. Hey, thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be able to chat a little bit, and I'm so excited to be able to make music together very soon. Excited to be coming in March.
I'm delighted to work with you again because we had a wonderful Ravel piano concerto. It's over a year ago, hard to believe, here in New Orleans with the LPO. You were magnificent. That was my first opportunity to get to work with you. And I'm delighted that you're bringing a piece which you're very fond of and have performed regularly, Manuel de Falla's Gardens of Spain, Night in the Gardens of Spain. I would like, before we talk about that, for our patrons to get to know you a little bit better, maybe you could tell us a bit about yourself.
Sure. So I am actually a fifth generation female pianist. So you could say music and piano has been a part of my life since I was born. I was born in Venezuela in Caracas, and I studied music with my mom, and moved to the States in '96 and studied music at Juilliard. Stayed in New York, was there for a long time, I've been, I'm so grateful and happy that music has been a part of my life, performing and making music. That's kind of the 20-second version. But Matthew, do you have more specific questions?
Oh, absolutely. I didn't know, actually, when we were chatting, I didn't know that about you, that it's generational, your experience with music. Do you have early musical memories of either your mother or other family members playing?
So I should also add, I like to joke that I am kind of the black sheep of all these women because my mom is an architect, and also has a master's in music. My grandma had a PhD in philosophy and a master's in music. I just play music. It's just music with me. But no, it's actually funny because my mom, she is a wonderful teacher, and she would teach in our home in Caracas. Downstairs, she had her studio, and I always wanted to play piano. And, since I was very, very little, and she, for a long time, resisted the idea. She put me in violin lessons, and I hated it. I did not want to play the violin. I did not like the sound. I really wanted to play piano. And the only reason that she agreed, is because one time she would teach her students and then they would go home, and she heard a student playing Fa mi fa re si fa, the beginning of the Beethoven second piano concerto. And my mom was cooking in the kitchen and she panicked. She had sent the student home. They'd been picked up and it was later and she didn't know what was going on. So she runs downstairs and it's me. I'm sitting there by ear playing the Beethoven second piano concerto opening. And that's when she was finally like, okay, I will teach you how to play piano, just because I'd been begging for so long. And she kept saying, no, 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 later, later, later. So in that moment, she said, oh my gosh, I have to do this. So she said, okay, I will teach you to play, but you can't play like this. You can't play by ear. You have to learn how to read music. And I said, wonderful. And I want to play the Beethoven second piano concerto. I was 5 years old and she was like, okay, for sure. Great. You can, of course, you can learn that piece. You have to learn how to, this kind of shows a little bit what the way that I've always been inspired to learn pieces, because I took that as a challenge and I said, great, I'll do Hanon and whatever other pieces, but this is what we're going to, this is what we're working on. And my mom thought sure, sure. But sure enough, like I practiced and I learned how to read and I actually performed that piece with orchestra a year later, which to me is wild because I have a 6-year-old son now. And to think of that, I just think it's wild. So I've always been determined, and I did learn how to read music so I could play the Beethoven piano concerto. But you could say, even before that, it's kind of in the DNA. Piano has been always just part of my life, and how amazing. I feel so just so blessed and grateful to have lived with my piano teacher, because I also learned how to practice efficiently from a very young age. A question that I'm always asked, especially when I do master classes or meet young students, is, parents will ask, how long did you practice? And something that I feel very strongly about is that it's not, of course, we have to practice every day and we have to work every day, but it's not so much about the number of time. There is no magic formula. It's about learning to practice well at a young age. So it's, you know, sorry, that was a very long answer
It
to
was an
the
exceptional story.
biography.
And what I wouldn't give, we chatted about this. I have two boys that play piano, and every night it is a struggle to get them to sit down and just play some scales and their pieces. Oh my, what I wouldn't give for a little bit of that passion that you shared at 5 years
Well,
old.
well, Matthew, but you did not ask me. So I have a 6-year-old and a 10-year-old, and they also do not like to practice. But it's I this is also something that I a question I get asked often is, oh, did you want to practice? No one likes to practice. It's just something that you have to do, and it's not, you're never going to find inspiration to do hard work. It's just a routine, and it's something that you have to do. I believe that in the teenage years, there were perhaps some bribes happening with me. I'm going to age myself when I give this example, but it was when AOL Chat Messenger, the younger audience listening to this video will think, what is this lady talking about? But back then we had dial-up internet and I wanted to chat with my friends on the computer, and it was a deal. It's like, okay, did you practice piano? Great, then you can go chat with your friends. So just kind of finding that balance is important just to get the work done. I'm not sure that helps with inspiration for our children because but it's, finding that routine and that work ethic from a young age is tricky, but it's just something that
Absolutely right.
happens.
And yes, in the Kramer household, practicing is it's full of bribes every single night just to get them to get through everything. So I mean, it's fascinating that the generational approach that you've had to music making in your family. You've had such a distinguished career, playing the concerti, chamber music. You teach at Brevard, I understand, every summer, perform there. Let's just dive in directly about your work as a soloist and specifically this piece, because you've already referenced that you've come back to it many times. Talk to us about De Falla's Nights in the Garden of Spain, and just from a pianist point of view, but also a musical point of view.
Sure. So I absolutely adore this piece. It is just so special in the way that Falla writes. It's such beautiful, lush music. Nights in a Spanish Garden. So it's this beautiful music that just evokes a night spent in a garden in Spain. I can imagine just thinking about it. I can, smell the citrus trees, feel a warm summer breeze. And I find that the way that he came about it is interesting. So I believe he started this idea as nocturnes for solo piano that then he orchestrated. And it's an unusual piece in that it has three movements and they're somewhat connected, but each has a name. And although it doesn't have, very exact programmatic stories behind it, I love that each movement depicts a different garden. So we have the first movement, El Helen Arife, and you can kind of hear the summer in this beautiful palace in the Alhambra in Granada. And there's this stillness and mystery and just elegance to the music. But you can also hear a little bit of flamenco throughout, which I find really fascinating and fun. Then we have the Danza Lejana, the distance dance. And that one doesn't have, I believe it doesn't, it's an unnamed garden. But it has this dark, dramatic dance tone to it, and it's very rhythmic and also nostalgic, elegant, introspective. And then it's almost like a memory drifting in the night in the background. And then it moves to the third movement, the Sierra de Córdoba, which is this gypsy dance and singing going on, just brighter and just very passionate. And I love this piece because it's, we have these beautiful gardens and it's just elaborate, brilliant piano music, but it's very unique as well in that the piano is part of the orchestra and it's truly chamber music. It's not what we're used to with these concertos of piano that have this brilliant solo moments. We're truly one unit making the music together. And it's just really fun to have that atmospheric experience.
And it's an important milestone. It's the 150th anniversary of Falla's birth in 2026. It's tremendous music. And of course, he's Spain's most famous composer, but you can hear the influence of Ravel and Debussy, the impressionistic qualities in this. I think it's an incredibly colorful program, anchored by this work. To share with you that we did have an interview, if you haven't caught it, with Stacey Garrop, whose work Chroma is premiering on this. Also, Copland's three Latin American sketches and a work by New Orleans-born composer Louis Moreau Gottschalk, his Symphony Number 2, Montevideo. It's a delight to speak with you, Gabriela, and I'm thrilled that you'll be joining us in Indianapolis. For our audiences who are unfamiliar with your playing, they're in for an absolute treat. And we're going to end our broadcast here sharing some of your performance with us. But thank you for taking a moment in your busy schedule with chatting us about De Falla's Gardens of Spain.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me, and can't wait to make music together soon.
Thanks, everyone.